Last year, trying to build that culture your way, you came into a situation where you had a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things to do. Now that your culture, the foundation has started, not that you're just looking for one, but how important for the guys will a win be to validate what you're doing?
Well, it's crucial, and you're right. We did come into a unique situation that's never happened really in the history of college football. So it's definitely been unique. You mentioned culture. Your culture's never really set. It's fluid every day. Every time somebody enters the program or leaves, the culture changes because they take their kind of unique God-given traits and personalities and gifts with them, or they bring them. So what you want to do is have a strong culture that kind of withstands the storms. And I think we've done that. I think our locker room is in a really good spot right now. I've made the comment several times that, every team you coach, you want to give them your very best and you care about them and you want to love them. But there were times last year where the team was hard to like. This year's team is kind of hard not to love because they have really kind of bought into what we're trying to do. They do believe. They know we've got a tough road ahead of them, but they're not making any excuses, But yeah, getting that first win will be huge, And right now, as we sit today, it's been 1,015 days since North Dakota State's won a football game. It's a long time. So we're due. Our players need it, our campus needs it, and I think the whole city in Natchitoches needs it. I think everybody will take a big sigh of relief. But what I can tell everybody is while they're waiting, know that we're alive and well and we're working and we're getting closer every day.
After a season like last year, and you've been coaching so long, had success, how often did you kind of go back and forth with, this worked everywhere else, but it's not here, so I need to ditch it or I need to hold on to it? Have you ever run across those doubts?
No, holistically, philosophically, big picture, no. Schematically, offensively, defensively, kick game, sure, there's always things that you're going to tweak and adjust every year. Even if you won a championship, there's things you're going to change the next year to try to get a little bit better. But we believe in what we're doing. We believe in how we want to build it. We haven't changed, our drive, our philosophies with any of the big picture things. If anything, going through last year made us believe in them a little bit more. That we're on the right track. If you look at last year, I think, big picture, if anybody didn't think last year could happen, they weren't really living in the real world. We tried to win every game that we played, but that was the reality of where the program was and what we inherited and what we had to kind of work with. So yeah, we're sticking to our guns and moving forward, and I think we are seeing a lot of progress.
Can we get an update on first Ben Taylor, his progress, what he's making? Does he have a chance to compete for some time this year?
I hope not. He's doing a great job. Ben's doing a great job. He's a really talented high school football player. He's a freshman in college right now, and I can tell everybody, like it was Denny Green over here, let's don't put him in the Hall of Fame just yet, right? I mean, he's going to be a good player, but he is a freshman right out of high school, and he's going through his lumps, but he definitely shows flashes of being a really, really talented young player, So we're excited about what he's doing. He's on track. We do have some guys ahead of him right now. But he is very capable, and he's going to have a great future in Natchitoches for sure.
What are his best attributes?
He's tough. He's a tough kid. He can throw the ball. There's no throw on the field he can't make. I think the one thing that maybe didn't surprise us, because we vet our kids pretty well, we knew what we were getting, but he probably runs the ball better than people gave him credit for, because in high school he didn't really have a necessity to do that. He just sat back there and had some pretty good options to throw it to, and he did that really well. But I think he has some intangibles with his legs that maybe people don't realize or aren't expecting to see.
Is it a kind of a creature of the way that college football is, kind of going back to what Roy said, he's got so much ground to make up because of the transfers coming in. Guys who have 4 years college experience are coming down to the Northwestern State Southland Conference, and then you're having to compete with high school kids. You can compete against a redshirt freshman. You can compete against a true sophomore, maybe going against older kids like that. Is it tougher for high school kids in this era, maybe, to make that step?
It is. I don't know that that's necessarily Ben's case, but at a lot of positions, sure, that's normal and that's natural. Right now, I don't think anybody in our program is going through that because we have the youngest roster in the country, probably by a long way. If there is another one, I'm still challenging people, find me another one. Nobody's brought me one yet. But right now we got 50 guys on our roster that are true freshmen or redshirt freshmen and 23 sophomores. So 75% of your team's got 3 years of eligibility or more. So those high school kids that come in aren't quite as far off as they would be at a lot of other programs. And a lot of the transfers that we brought in some one-year transfers to fill some immediate spots, and they've been really good for us. But a lot of the ones we brought in were 3 and 4 year guys too, as we try to build. We want to keep them around and grow them and develop them, and make them leave as Northwestern State graduates and proud to have been there for the majority of their career. So our high school guys come in, they can compete, but they are still going through the, being away from home and different schedule, and all-day football is new to a lot of them.
I know you can't comment on him specifically, but another local quarterback committed to you guys, and talk about him in a few months. But how do you approach? Is there a formula? Is it feel of who to offer? You know, the mix of transfers. You know, how much of your job is spent trying to formulate, hey, here's the plan we need to do in terms of offering scholarships and bringing guys in?
Yeah, good question. I think one of the most important jobs of a head coach is roster management, without question, especially in today's world, you know, with all the portal issues and those things. So we've kind of developed a philosophy. I don't want to live in the portal. You know, we'll use it where we need to. So our philosophy right now is when a kid graduates from our program, we want to replace him with a high school kid. When a kid leaves in the portal, we want to replace him with a portal player. Try to keep things balanced. With that, you know, one of our goals is to have the fewest number of players go in the portal by the Southland Conference, and right now we're doing that. You know, last year there was 2 portal windows last year. This year there's probably going to be 1. Last year at the end of the season, we had 11 guys go in, 8 of them on their own, 3 of them we encouraged to go in, and I think that was 7th in the conference, which is really good. 7th from the fewest number. In the spring portal, we only had 1 go in. When a lot of people in our conference had 15, 18, 20. So in the spring, we actually accomplished that goal of having the fewest in the conference go in. When I told the team that, hey, you accomplished that goal, and I said you had 1 go in, they couldn't even think who it was. So what's that tell you? We didn't lose a lot there. But what that tells us is the kids are buying into our program, they're believing, they see what's coming, and they want to stay and stick it out. So that part's been very encouraging for me.
Piggybacking on that, Ben's not the only local recruit that you've had in your first real class. That commitment and others that Roy references. And your philosophy is rooted in signing local, signing area, signing regional, signing state product. You got like 80% of your teams.
Yeah, I appreciate that question too, because that's a very valuable point. There's 13 Division I playing football teams in the state of Louisiana. In our first 2 classes, 82% of our classes have been from the state of Louisiana, and that is more than anybody in the state, some of them more than double, you know, and honestly, shame on some of them, you know, because there's so much talent right here that's kind of begging and wanting to stay home. We're going to give them an opportunity, and we're going to grow them and develop them, and, you know, the more you do that, and the more that, you know, grandma and friends and family can come see you play, makes you want to play a little bit harder, makes you want to stay, you know, it's you know, makes you not want to go 4 states away when you lose that opportunity. So we're trying to bring in kids that want to call it home, you know, and be Northwestern State graduates and good alums when they leave. And so far, I feel like we're on track with it. You know, we got to watch some of those guys grow up, but we like the progress they're making for sure.
Are there any of those new guys this year that aren't backed up at a position and might get on the field?
In this immediate class, we're looking at 2 guys right now that we probably are not going to redshirt out of the 19 that came in. The other 17, we're going to do our best to protect that year. I don't want to say who they are just yet. They both play the same position, I'll say that. But they're really talented, really good players. And you never really can decide who you're going to redshirt and who you're not until the season's over. You know, until we get to that mark where, you know, now you can play 4 games and keep your redshirt, until after we played 8 games, you know, it's kind of week to week because you can't predict injuries and you know, unforeseen things happening. But 17 of the 19 right now, we're going to do our best to protect.
What, you know, Natchitoches isn't alone in being a small town football college community, but every community is unique. You came from a great community before you were in Natchitoches. Now that you've been there a year, have you found to be, you know, what's the personality of Natchitoches? What have you learned to love about Natchitoches?
People from Natchitoches are proud of Natchitoches. It's a really cool thing to watch. People from Natchitoches love Northwestern State. If you drive down Front Street, every window that you see is going to have a flag or something Northwestern State in it, not just for football, but for every sport, you know, and it's a really cool thing to see the bond between the community and the university and the community and our football team. And I tell our guys all the time, you know, regardless of our recent history, when you go downtown, when you go down Front Street, when you go wherever, wear your gear. Let people know who you are. Let people know you play football at Northwestern State and be proud of that. You don't have anything to hang your head about because people in that town love that football team and they want to see them be successful. They're pulling for them. And I think that's a very valuable thing, and it's unique. You know, not unique to a lot of small college towns, but unique to where we are right now, seeing that much attention and love with the recent history. So it's a pretty neat thing.
Do you allow yourself to envision what the community, as strong as it is now, would be with a winning football program?
Every day. Yeah, there's not a day that I don't pull in the parking lot at Turpin Stadium and I don't look at it in my mind, I see it full. You know, and they built Turpin Stadium like that for a reason, because they once filled it up, and if it's been done before, it can be done again. And I think about it every day. You know, I think next week we're going to have a great crowd. 7 days from now, when Alcorn State comes in on a Thursday night, all the students are still there, and you know, people get off work and can come to the game. I think we're going to have an incredible crowd. You know, last year, even with the lack of success on the field, we still finished second in the conference in attendance. And if people want to know what the connection to Northwestern State football in the community is, that's the only stat you need to see, because that's rare.
The thing that is probably eating you alive the most, the losses, is also the thing that probably is the best recruiting tool, I would assume. When you're out there, hey guys, we need help. We'd like to have you come in here and you have a chance to play. Is that basically the calling card when you're out on the recruiting trail?
It helps, you know, in the immediate, but big picture, I think the calling card is just painting a vision of what it's going to be. You know, everybody wants the me and the play now and all that, but you got to think a little bit bigger than that. And you got to think, all right, you come in here and stick this thing out for a couple of years, you're leaving with a ring. And I think a lot of our guys have kind of bought into the hows and the whys of what we're doing to make that happen. And I think that's been the biggest thing that they bought into, as opposed to recent success or lack of.
What's the gap between where you want to be and where you are right now?
I don't think we'll ever get there. Yeah, and I think that's just true. You know, and I've said this a lot of times, and I'll say this when I speak to the group here in a little bit. You know, last year we played 12 games. You know, if this right here was the worst team on our schedule, and everybody's above that, we were right here. We really were. We were a bad football team last year, and I know that, and I own that. Now we've made tremendous progress, but where are we in that gap? Are we up here? No. You know, are we somewhere in here? Maybe. But what if we're just right here? Well, we still made tremendous progress, and we're getting better, and we're ready to knock somebody off. You know, so I'm excited about the progress we've made. We've made a ton of improvement, but where is the gap? We really don't know. We talk about it every day as a staff. We know we're better, but where are we? We don't know, because we were so far gone in year one.